Hello and welcome to the course introduction for Business 220 Introduction to Entrepreneurship. This is a course that I'll be teaching within the Cider Brewing and Distilling program at South Puget Sound. I've taught in this program before. I've taught this class in this program before, as well as in other venues, and I really look forward to working with you over the course of the quarter. One of the neat things about teaching this class in your program is that all of you are kind of moving towards a very similar kind of business. So the examples that I use and the discussions that we have are going to be more on point really than if we were all in a room where everybody was pursuing a different business idea. So the way this course is going to be structured is each of you, either individually or in groups, I'll talk about that a little later, will be building a business plan for a hypothetical business. And you'll kind of pretend in your mind that this is a real situation and that you're really going to be asking for money and needing to prove that you have a viable business. And going through this process, even though it's kind of not for real in that sense, will definitely benefit you when you go to do it for real down the road. Or if you never choose to start your own business, having the understanding of what a business owner goes through to get a business up off the ground will help you be a better employee, a better manager for that owner. So that's my approach to this class. So again, it'll be structured on building a business plan, and each week we'll be talking about different elements of the business plan. So I've uploaded the syllabus and the course calendar. Please print both of those. The information for the textbook that we'll be using is found on the syllabus. That textbook is available at Barnes & Noble or on Amazon, just about anywhere you can find it. Any of the last several editions are going to be fine for you to use. Each week I'll have you read different chapters from the textbook, and then I will do a lecture like this, voice over PowerPoint. I may upload several of them. I try to not have my videos be longer than 15 minutes or so that they're not too painful to sit through. But I'll upload those, and you can watch those in addition to reading the book. So I'd like to start by introducing myself and giving you a little bit of information about my background. So I started working at a company called Big Toys that made commercial playground equipment. It used to be based in Tacoma, and then it moved to Olympia. I started working there as a teenager, basically doing any job that nobody else wanted to do. So sweeping up and installing playgrounds and running machinery and forklifts and all kinds of things. I worked there through high school and through college. And then in 1991, I helped the owner. So I got a degree in business administration with a concentration in accounting at the University of Washington. I became the company's controller, and then I helped the original two owners of the company sell to a large publicly traded Danish company. So Big Toys at the time was about 9 million in sales, and we sold to a company that was about 120 million in sales at that time. So that Danish company, here's an example of one of their showier playgrounds up near the Space Needle. It was, as I mentioned, it was an international company, so I got to learn how larger businesses work, how intra-company transactions function, how to market and sell products in other countries, how to manufacture in other countries. So my responsibility for Compan during the 12 years I worked for them was I oversaw all of their production in North America, and then all of the accounting and finance functions in North America as well, which covered about 5 companies. So it was a big job. In the early 2000s, Compan decided that they wanted to sell the Big Toys product line, and so they asked me if I wanted to buy the company. Owning my own company had always been a dream of mine, and I felt like I knew the business pretty well at that point. I had the right education and then had a lot of practical experience. So in January of 2004, my wife and I made the decision to purchase the company. We started out with 15 employees and as an independent company. And one of the first things we did is launch an alternate material choice for our products. So we had always in the past sold wood playground equipment. And doing some simple market research, I found that many customers were shying away from buying wood playgrounds because of concerns about vandalism or splinters or whatever the case was. And it was kind of a losing effort to try to convince people to buy something that they didn't want to buy. And so instead, we offered a version of our product that didn't contain any wood. We used that as an opportunity to rebrand our company and occupy a space in the market that none of our competitors were. And that brand we chose was to be the green playground solution. So in the alternate material choice we elected was all recycled materials. So all of the steel you see in the playground on the right is made from crushed cars, reclaimed scrap metal, and all of the lumber that you see is made from recycled milk jugs. So customers could choose from a highly recycled version of the product. And then we changed all of our wood suppliers to only use suppliers that were certified as sustainable. So we could offer customers a choice between sustainable materials or recycled materials. And that turned out to be a very impactful position to take. It allowed us to double our sales in 4 years, which is difficult to do with a 30-year-old company. We also launched a new invention, so I have some experience with intellectual property rights and patents and that sort of thing. So this is an updated version of the seesaw you might remember from when you were a kid. That is a product that we invented, we patented. We sold it for right around $4,000 and sold 500 of them in 2 years. So that product was a big hit for us. Sold them to a lot of elementary schools around the country, around the world, really. At that point, when the economy crashed in 2008, 2009, I made the reluctant decision to sell my company to my largest competitor to ensure that it would continue on. I went back to school, got my MBA, and I helped a friend launch a company importing outdoor fitness equipment to sell into parks. It was all made with stainless steel, very beautiful design, all manufactured in Shanghai. So I got to experience managing a supply chain in Asia, which was interesting. So my contact information, the best way to reach me is by email, so tmadeley@spscc.edu. I am happy to meet with you either on campus or by Zoom, so just shoot me an email and we can figure out a time that we can talk. I'm a big believer in oftentimes a 5 or 10 minute conversation, especially face to face. It can be way more efficient than a bunch of emails back and forth, so I'm happy to meet with you. And then the number I've included there is my cell phone number, so if you call me or text me, please identify yourself just so I know who it is that's reaching out to me. So the graded work for the class, you're going to be doing a couple of different things. So each week, and I'll talk more about each of these in the upcoming slides. So each week you're going to do most significant sentence posts and replies. You'll submit business plan segments, and then you'll pull that together to make a final business plan, and then at the end you'll do a final presentation. And I know most students see that presentation and they panic. This will be very low-key. It won't be a difficult thing for you. So the most significant sentences, those are due on the dates shown on the course calendar. I'd really recommend having a copy of that course calendar pinned up somewhere handy. So the purpose here is for you to read the chapters. So example, the first one that's due on the 29th of September, you'll read chapters 1 to 3 in the book. And then you'll pick out the one sentence out of those 3 chapters. So one single sentence out of those 3 chapters that you think jumps out at you as being the most significant. So it's not right or wrong, it's your opinion. You'll type the sentence, the paragraph, where it is, that sort of thing, so somebody else can find it. And then a couple of sentences, 3 or 4 sentences maybe, about why you think that is the most important sentence. So, and I'm actually going to change what no, we'll leave it the way it is here. So one will do your post and then comment on 2 other students' posts. So, and your comments or your replies should be positive, constructive, and substantive, of course. The purpose of, and let me show you an example here. So here's a good one from a class, a Business 101 class that I taught, where somebody found the sentence that jumped out to them, and then they wrote why it jumped out to them. So the purpose of this assignment is twofold, and this was an assignment that I had in a bunch of my MBA classes when I was a student. one, it causes you to read the material in a different way, because even subconsciously, you're looking for your sentence while you're doing it. So you read in a different way. And then second, when you look through your other fellow students' posts to make your replies, you'll get a different perspective. You'll see something that they thought was important that maybe you had just passed over. So I think it's a really rich way to kind of have an online discussion about the material that you've read. So, and I would encourage you to, when you reply to other students, to not just do the same students every week, but to jump around a little bit, that sort of thing. So the business plan segments, you can choose for the entire project. So for doing all the segments each week and then the final plan and the presentation, you could either do that by yourself if you want for the business that you believe you may start one day, or if you want to work in groups of 2 or 3 students, no more than 3, that's okay too. I know some of you are maybe pursuing or have interests that are very similar to one another, and so if you want to group together and do that to split the workload a little bit, that's fine. Know that you'll do one submission, identify the group members, and all of you will receive the same grade. Each section of the business plan should be 1 to 3 pages. So the overall plan is going to be roughly around 20 pages. You know, if you publish a 100-page business plan, nobody's going to read it. So it's important to be concise and not be repetitive. So each of the segments you write are going to be 1 to 3 pages, double spaced. You'll upload them to Canvas. I'll read through them, I'll grade them. I kind of do it old school style. I print them out, I mark them with red ink, and then I upload that back with your grade. So you'll get feedback about both your writing style and how clear it is, and then are there issues that you should have addressed that you didn't, or things like that. Let's see, and there are examples in the textbook that I think are very well done. And then I also included a sample business plan. It's not related to brewing and distilling. It's a completely different kind of business, but it's a former student of mine that did a very good job and gave me her permission to include her business plan. So that you'll find that under course materials in Canvas, and that's a good thing to consult if you're wondering what something should look like. The final business plan will be pulling all of those sections together, and you'll probably find that you're going to maybe alter your business plan a little bit as you work through these things. It may change a little bit. So when you pull the sections together, you're going to need to do some pretty heavy editing potentially to make sure that the document is internally consistent, that you're not saying one thing in one section, something else in another section. So doing that editing, making sure that all of the feedback that I've offered you has been reflected in some way. That's not to say every suggestion I have you have to do, but at least note it and decide to do what I've suggested or not, but that sort of thing. And then you'll upload that by the date shown on the course calendar as well. And then the business plan presentation. So we're going to have 3 meetings on this class: the weekend of the 23rd and 24th, the weekend of October 23rd and 24th, November 13th and 14th, and then December, probably the 5th. So in each of those, we're going to kind of just have a group discussion about the sections that you've done so far. I'll ask you questions about it. We'll talk a little bit about what's coming up, that sort of thing. And then on that last meeting on December 4th, I'm going to bring in a couple guest lecturers that I think you'll enjoy hearing from. And then I'll have you do very brief presentations. So an elevator pitch, maybe you've heard that term before. It's if you found yourself in an elevator with Jeff Bezos and you've got the time it takes you to get from the ground floor up to the floor you're going to give him your pitch for your business. How can you boil it down? What's special about you into that small chunk of time? That's an elevator pitch. And so it has to be very short, and I'm going to put a time limit on it of no more than 5 minutes and have a PowerPoint to support it. No more than 5 slides, so keeping it very short and to the point. So that's what we're going to do for this course. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I look forward to going back and forth with you online here. Again, each week I'll record a lecture like this, and hopefully that'll give a little bit of life to the material that you read. And I look forward to seeing all of you in person later in October. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.